Yeah, just stop it there. Let's go back to where this comes from. Drilling teeth to produce a place of veneer on it goes back to when materials had to be quite thick. If a material had to be thick, then you'd have to create the space to put that material on. So you would have to make room by moving the tooth back and drilling the tooth back. The thing is now, actually, that doesn't need to happen because you can produce the veneer very, very thin. And if it's very, very thin, then you shouldn't need to drill the tooth back as much or at all, because you could add that tiny bit of thickness without it looking bulky. So it all comes down to the right type of case, but what patients need to know, and anyone considering veneers needs to know, is that the dentist who's doing it the right way, using minimal preparation, doesn't want to drill your teeth. You know, we don't want to drill the teeth, so we'll find every way possible not to drill the teeth. And there's so many reasons for that, because an over-drilled tooth, firstly, the veneer will not look as good because of the fact that you have maybe more thickness on the veneer, so it can sometimes look a little bit bulkier. The second reason is that when you remove all of the layer of the tooth and maybe place a crown, which is different from a veneer that goes around the whole tooth, and you've drilled away all the tooth, then you've nothing left. So if you're looking at 10, 15, 20 years later, and you're having to replace that veneer, then what are you going to replace it with? Because there's nothing left underneath. So it's kind of totally irreversible. So that's one issue. The second comes down to actually to do with breakages. People that break their veneers more, often you'll find the veneers have been over-prepared. So there's more tooth removed than there should be. And that comes down to actually bonding. The glue that we use, the resin we use to permanently stick the veneer to the tooth is much stronger on the outer layer of the tooth. So if you remove that outer layer, then what do we have left underneath to stick to? The bond is much weaker. So when people say, oh, my veneer came off and it didn't look nice underneath and it was a small stump and things like that, that's because there's been over drilling. So it's really important to me as the dentist and the patient that we don't over drill, but it's also not easy. It's much easier to place a veneer or a crown when you have loads of room to do so for the ceramist or for the dentist. So that's where you see these shortcut versions or people traveling and getting stuff done in a few days and just having these things stuck on their teeth that they call veneers, which are usually crowns. It's just easier to do that, whereas making a super thin veneer is hard for the dentist and it's hard for the technician, and that's why you won't see as much of it.